We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Ches Amud Aleph in Maseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 58a. The Gemara is describing the table of an Amoritz, and the Gemara says that the table of an Amoritz is similar lemedura to a bonfire, ukederos ma'akifos osa, and there are pots that are surrounding it. And the Rashbam explains lemedura shemukefes kederos. It's surrounded by these pots, va'esh ba'emtza, and the bonfires in the middle. Afkan, so to the table of an Amoritz, hamapa v'halechem ba'emtza. You have the tablecloth and the bread in the middle. V'haka'oro savav, and you have all the plates that are surrounding it. And the Gemara continues, Mida shel Talmidei Chachamim, the bed of Talmidei Chachamim, Ketzad, how is that arranged? Kol she'ein tachta ela sandalin b'yemos hachama. All you have underneath of the bed is sandals in the summer season, uminolin b'yemos hageshamim, and shoes in the rainy season. B'shel Amoritz, and the bed of an Amoritz, dome la'otzer bolos, underneath the bed, it's like a cluttered storehouse. And the Rashbam explains, Kol she'ein tachteh da'aminim b'psachim, because we say in psachim, ochlin tachas amita afilim mechupin b'chli barzel ruach ra shor alei, and it's bad to have other things under the bed, like food. Derech minolin b'mos hacham, it was normal to wear shoes during the summer season, v'sandalim b'mos hageshamim, and then during the rainy season you'd wear sandals, b'shvil hatit, because of the mud, so that's why ela sandalim b'mos hacham, that's why the sandals in the summer season were under the bed, shemanicham sham, ad yemos hageshamim sheyitztarechlam, you would leave it there until the rainy season when the person would need them. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Rabbi Beno have a kamitzayin ma'arta. Rabbi Beno, he was making markings in caves to indicate where burial places were. Kimotala ma'arta de Avram, when he reached the cave of Avram Avinu, where Avram and Sarah were buried. Ashkechel Eliezer Eved Avram dekoi kame bava. He found Eliezer, the servant of Avram. He was standing before the gate. Amarle said to him, "My Kaved Avram, what's Avram doing right now?" Amarle, he said, Goni bekanfa de Sarah, he's lying in the arms of Sarah, v'kama'ayna lei bereshi, and she's looking at his head. Amarle, he said to him, Zil eimolei b'noah koyabava, go tell him that Benoah is by the gate. Amarle, he said to him, Leil, you're able to enter. Meida yediyah the yetzer b'hayol maleka, because it's known there's no such thing as the yetzer hara in the next world, in this world, and so therefore it's not a problem that you're going to go in there. Ayil, so he went in there, ayin v'nafak, and he inspected to find exactly where the burial place was, and he went out. And the Rashbam explains, Rabbi Beno Adam Gadol v'chashav haya, this was a great and important person. Lefikach nitan lo reshus likonis bekivrei tzadikim. That's why he had permission to enter into the burial sites of the tzadikim. Aval acher lo, but a different person would not be allowed to do that. Kedamrina, like we say, gedolim tzadikim b'misason yosmi b'chayein, that the tzadikim are even greater in their death than in their lives. Vayenichnas b'ma'oro, so he'd enter into the caves. Umodeid midas orchan mibifnim, he would measure how much they were on the inside. V'yachagach moded mibachutz, then he would measure on the outside, kenegdon, corresponding to where the burial site was. V'yasasham tzion sid kedei lahakir mokom hatum, and he made a sign over there so people would know where the tumah was. V'lo yaviu taharos derech kan shelo yael alakever. That way they won't bring things that needed to be kept pure into that area. Ashkechel Eliezer says he found Eliezer, he was at the gate. The Tanya b'Meseches Derech Eretz, the Shiva Tzadikim Kayom and Shalom Mesu. It says in Meseches Derech Eretz, there are 7 tzadikim that never died. V'kachoshe b'hadayu Eliezer Eved Avram, one of them was Eliezer. Bechnafa means Ben Zroaseh, he was in her arms, meaning Avram was in Sarah's arms. Amar le Rabbi Beno Eliezer, Rabbi Beno said to Eliezer, Zil Eimolei li Avram, Beno Koyabava, go tell Avram that Beno is standing outside by the gate. V'tein lo reshus likonis, to give him permission to enter. Amar Leil, he said, you can go in, the Inkan Chutzpah, it's not considered Chutzpah, the Ignia Ba'anpe Bekan for the Sarah, that he's lying in Sarah's arms, it's not a problem. The Meida Yadiyah, the Yetzirah B'hayol Maleka, V'lo Tzrichna Litztanue Minei, since there's no Yetzirah in that world, so you don't need to worry, he doesn't need to hide from him. And finally, the Rashbam says, Hachi Garsinan Al Ayin V'nafak, meaning Nichnas Rabbi Beno V'nestakil Midas Orech Amor, Rabbi Beno entered, he saw how long the cave was, V'yotza V'yachagach Tzayin V'bachutz, then he came out, and he made a sign on the outside again, so people would know where the tumah was. And the Gemara continues, Kimota le'ma'arta da Adam Harishon, when Rabbi Beno came to the cave of Adam Harishon, which is in the same area, Yotzta Baskol, V'yomer Baskol came out and said, Nistakalt b'demus diyukni atzmal testakal, you looked at a likeness of my image. The Rashbam says that it means to say he looked at Yaakov Avinu, which is a likeness of Adam Harishon. Some say it means to say Avram, it's referring to Avram, that Avram was a likeness of Adam Harishon, but b'diyuknei atzma, in my actual image, meaning at Adam Harishon himself, you're not able to look. And so Rabbi Benah said, but I need to measure the cave. And so the answer was, Kamidas hachitzona kach midas hapnimis. The same measurement of the outer cave where Avram is buried, it's going to be the same one as the inner cave where Adam Rishon is buried. Now, according to the one who says that the way the cave was arranged, it was like two houses, one on top of the other, so then the response was, Kamidas Elyona, the same as the measurement of the upper one where Avram Avinu was buried, kach midas hatachtona, so too is the measurement of the lower one, again where Adam Harishon is buried. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Benah said, Nistakalti b'shnei akevav, I looked at his two heels, meaning the heels of Adam Harishon, v'domim l'shnei galgalei chama, and they were so bright it was like looking at two suns. And the Gemara continues, Hakol b'fnei Sarah kekof b'nei Adam. Everybody, when compared to Sarah, is like comparing a monkey to a person. That's how beautiful Sarah was compared to others. Sarah b'fnei Chava kekof b'fnei Adam. If you compared Sarah to Chava, that was like a monkey compared to people, meaning Chava was so much more beautiful. Chava b'fnei Adam kekof b'fnei Adam. If you compared Chava to Adam, that was like a monkey before people, because Adam was so much more beautiful. Adam b'fnei Shechina, and Adam compared to the Shechina, kekof b'fnei Adam, that's like comparing a monkey to people. And the Gemara continues along the same lines, Shufrei de Rav Kahana, the beauty of Rav Kahana, me'ein Shufrei de Rav, that was just a semblance of the beauty of Rav. Shufrei de Rav, me'ein Shufrei de Rabbi Avo, the beauty of Rav was a semblance of the beauty of Rabbi Avo. Shufrei de Rabbi Avo, me'ein Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu, the beauty of Rabbi Avo was a semblance of the beauty of Yaakov Avinu. Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu, me'ein Shufrei de Adam Harishon, the beauty of Yaakov Avinu was a semblance of the beauty of Adam Harishon. And the Gemara continues, Hahu amgusha to have a chotet shichve, there was a certain sorcerer, he was rummaging among the dead, among those who were buried. Kimota amarta de Rav Tuvi bar Masna, and when he came to the cave of Rav Tuvi bar Masna, Tafsei bedikne, Rav Tuvi bar Masna grabbed him by the beard. Asa Abaya came, Amarle said, Matusa minach, please, Shavke, you should let him go. And so he let him go. Lashana Achrisi, the next year, Hadar Asa Tafse B'tikne, again he came, and again he grabbed him by the beard. Asa Abaya again came, and he pleaded that he should let the Amgusha go. Lo Shavke, he didn't let him go. Adaisi Mispara, the Gazi Ledikne. So Abaya had to bring scissors and cut the beard. Ahu Amar Lahu Chavisa Diafra Lachad Baroi. There was a person who said to them when he was giving away his property after he was going to die in his will. He said that the Chavisa Da'afra, the barrel of dirt, that should go to one of my sons. Chavisa Degarmi, a barrel of bones, Lachadbroi, that should go to another one of my sons. And Chavisa De'udra, the barrel of, means like soft cloths, Lachadbroi, that should go to one of my sons. Lo have a yodi mai kamarlu, so nobody understood what he was saying. What exactly is he giving to each son? Asu Lakami de Rabbi Benah, so they came before Rabbi Benah. Amar Lui said to them, Isluchu Ara, do you have land? Amrulayin, they said yes. Isluchu Chiyusa, do you have livestock? In, they said yes. Isluchu Bistarki, do you have quilts? In, they said yes. So he said, if so, Hachi Kamarluchu, that's exactly what he's saying to you. Meaning when he said the barrel of earth, that refers to land, that goes to that son. When he said the barrel of bones, that refers to the livestock. When he said the barrel of soft pads or cloth, that refers to the quilts. And the Gemara continues, How Gavra the Shamal Divisu, there was a man who heard his wife, the Ka'amr Levrata, he heard his wife saying to her daughter, Amailo Tznius Bisura, why aren't you more careful, why aren't you more private when you commit Isurim, when you have forbidden relationships with men that are not your husband? Hach Itasan, she said, that particular woman, this is the wife, she was referring to herself, she said to her daughter, you should know that I, Asara B'ni Isla, she has 10 sons, I have 10 sons, Velesli Me'avach Elachad, and from your father is only one of the sons, meaning to say the mother was essentially telling the daughter that she had been with many other men, and all of her children except for one really came from other men. So Kishachiv, so now this man found out about it. So when he was dying, Amar Lahu, he said to them, Kol nichsi lachad b'roi. He said, all of my property is just going to one of my sons, meaning to say he understood that really only one of the sons was his son. So lo yadi lahai minayu, but they didn't know which one of the sons is getting all the property. So asu l'kami de Rabbi Benah, so they came before Rabbi Benah. Amar Louis said to them, Zilu chavotu kivradavu, go and you should bang by the burial place of your father. Adakayu magli lechu, it's like he'll raise his spirit and he'll reveal to you, lahai minaychu shavka, to which one of you he left the property. Azlu kulu hahu divrei have lo azl. They all went to the burial site, but this particular one who actually was his son, he didn't want to go because he didn't want to go. It wasn't proper to go to the burial site and do this and summon, so to speak, the father. Amar lahu, so when Rabbi Benah saw that, he said to them, Kulu nichsi dahai. So all the property really belongs to this one. This must be the true son. And the Gemara continues, Azlu achlu kurza be malka. So then they said, when they saw how Rabbi Benoah rules in these cases, he doesn't have any evidence, no witnesses, he just uses his wisdom. So they said bad things about him to the government, to the king. Amri, they said, Ika gavra chad b'yudai. There's one particular individual among the Jews, to come mapik mamonime, and he takes money from people below sahadi, without any witnesses. Uvulo midi, he's got no evidence, nothing. He just does it based, again, like in this example, he just does it based on his wisdom. So Asyu chavshu, they took him and they imprisoned him. So Azla Devisu, so then his wife came along, and Amra Lahu, and she said to these officers of the king that imprisoned her husband, she said, Avda Chad Havali, she said, I had one slave, Pasku L'Resha, they cut off his head, Upashtu L'Mashche, and they took off his skin, Va'achlu Bisre, and they ate his flesh, V'kamalu Be'maya, and they fill it with water, Umashku Be L'Chavrai, and they fill it with water, and they use it to give to drink to the colleagues. V'lo Ko Yahavi Li Demei V'lo Agri, they didn't pay me for what they did, and they don't give me any wages for what they did. And so when she said this to them, Lo Yadi, my Kamra, they had no idea what she was saying. Lo Yadi, my Kamra, they didn't know what she was saying to them. Amri, so they said, Nesu l'chakima diyudai, let's bring this wise person from the Jews, let's bring this Rabbi Benoah, Vilema, that way he'll be able to say what's going on over here. Karyul Rabbi Benoah, so they called Rabbi Benoah. Amar Luhu, he said to them, Zarnoka Amar Luhu, what she's referring to is the skin from a goat. They took the goat and then they used the skin to make a kind of a container for the water. So Amri, so they said, Hoel v'chachim kulihai, since this person is so wise, leisiv abava v'neidon dina, so we should have him sit by the gate and he'll issue judgments. Chazad avikasev be'abula, called dayan demiskri ledin lo shmei dayan. So he saw when he sat by the gate, it was written over the gate, it said any judge who's called to judgment, he's not a good judge, meaning to say, if the judge himself has to be judged for something, for some kind of crime or wrongdoing, so that's not someone who should be a judge. Amar Lahu, so he said to them, he said that's not appropriate. Why? Because according to that, also inish me'alma, let's say some random person would come to call this person to judgment, he'll never be able to be a judge just because of that, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Nun Ches Amud Beis.